I'm Mairi Lucas. I'm married to Richard, and we've been married for 18 years. We have two teenage sons, Paul and Andrew. Andrew's right at the very back there. And I'm a part-time cooking teacher. You all know Richard, either personally or because of the Scottish Family Party. You'll know that he is not afraid to stand up for what he believes in. And he doesn't shy away from challenging anyone he disagrees with. For most of our marriage, I would be absolutely mortified by this. We both worked in the same school for several years. Occasionally, during staff training, Richard would challenge some poor speaker. I would want the ground to just open up and swallow me. I just wanted him to be nice, just go with the flow, get along with everybody. But that was a selfish desire. I just wanted everything to go smoothly in my life. And I've completely changed my position. Over the last 3-4 years, I've really come to see the problems in society. It's as if my eyes have really been opened, and there's a passivity which is gone, and I see that it's a time to stand up and to speak out and stand for what we believe in. So this is me standing up and representing the Scottish Family Party. The party, as you know, is pro-marriage, pro-family and pro-life. And I'd like to talk about how the party will seek to counter the culture of abortion. So just a few statistics, first of all. 1 in 3 women in the UK under the age of 45 will have had an abortion. There were over 13,000 abortions in Scotland last year. That's an average of more than 35 every day. Less than 1% of abortions will have been carried out in order to save the life of the mother. So that means that 99% were for other reasons. So just very briefly, this is not to condemn anybody. If this has affected anybody here, I'm not judging, I'm not condemning anybody. There are 2 victims in an abortion. There's a baby, but I think most women carry it for the rest of their lives. And there is really good help available through SFP and other agencies for those who have been affected. So how did we get here? How have we become a culture of abortion? Let's look at 4 key decisions which will contribute to that culture. So the first one is a decision to enter into a sexual relationship where the conception of a baby is not welcome. And we've seen that quite graphically earlier on. This is most likely to be people who feel they are too young or too old to start a family. People who are not in a committed relationship and or have other priorities such as studies or career. This will often lead to an unwanted pregnancy. So that's stage 2, which is the next decision. And there will be a decision made on whether to abort or not. 21% of all pregnancies in Scotland end in abortion. So we can assume that the percentage for unwanted pregnancies is far higher, and most women will choose to abort in this situation. There's also a growing number of married women who are choosing to abort. This can be because they feel they've got enough children already, they don't want the financial burden, they want to focus on their career, or they just feel they're too old to have more children or to start a family. Just as an aside, feminism plays a big part in that too. Just the overemphasis on career and underemphasis on family and motherhood. That's my personal opinion. So, assuming a woman has had an abortion, There'll be another decision that she makes after that abortion, and it'll be how she reconciles what she's done to herself, how she justifies that or not. Some women will regret the decision. They will not contribute to the culture of abortion because of that, but they will live with guilt, grief and remorse, possibly for the rest of their lives, unless there is some intervention. Other women will defend their position by denying the personhood of their baby and take up a my body, my choice stance, and they will attack those who challenge their position. This position is very unsteady, it's very difficult to maintain, because ultimately it's a denial of reality, it's a denial that they have chosen to abort their baby. So this can lead to a kind of furthering of the culture of abortion, becoming in that sort of entrenched position and in denying the reality of it. There's a stage 4, which is a woman who's struggling to maintain that position and struggling with any challenge to her position, will seek to bring others on side with her. And that's where you see the really militant pro-life activism and the silencing of all opposition. An example of this would be the Shout Your Abortion campaign, where women are encouraging each other to talk about and even celebrate their abortions publicly. And this is, the word shout says it all really, it's a shouting down of opposition to abortion. So that's 4 stages. There are other factors that would come into that, but it's just 4 basic stages, decisions, where that cycle of abortion is perpetuated. So how would the Scottish Family Party counter the culture of abortion? So let's look at the 4 stages again. Each of these stages represents a decision. There will have been influences which will have informed these decisions. So the influence in decision 1, to have sex, where the prospect of a baby is not wanted. And the major influence on that decision would be sex education in school, as we've seen, culture, so people watching movies, programs, media, everything around them, and also their family life. As we know, the current sex education materials focus on personal gratification. We would seek to move towards presenting the ideals of personal responsibility and the value of marriage. So I'll come back to the culture of family life later. Stage 2, influences on a woman to have an abortion. The biggest influence is years of pro-life activism, that cycle that I've explained, those who are entrenched in their position and seeking to bring others on board, seeing it as a kind thing to do actually. And the other factor is the denial. Oh,
sorry, Mairi, did you mean pro-choice then? You said pro-life twice. You meant pro-choice.
Sorry, yeah, I knew I would make that mistake. Yeah, so the pro-choice movement, which is quite aggressive. So the other factor is the denial of the personhood of the baby, and we're seeing that all through culture. I was looking at NHS materials, a leaflet on abortion, and actually the word baby isn't actually used through the whole leaflet, apart from a little bit at the end on contraception, following on from an abortion. So the baby is described as pregnancy matter, or the contents of the uterus. So there's a real denial of reality. So as a party, we would ensure that independent counselling was available to all women, so that they can explore other options rather than abortion. We would be a voice for the unborn in Parliament, education, media and culture. We would support family life. Our policy booklets are over there, and there's a lot on support of family life. Influences on decisions 3 and 4, so the deeper and deeper entrenchment of a pro-choice position. We would really just seek to challenge that at every level of society. One thing we're talking about, which is not in our policies, is a post-abortion counselling service, which would actually be open to a woman, but actually open for her to choose a type of counselling which would she would relate to as well. So she wouldn't be forced. She wouldn't be forced into it. She would be forced into something which didn't marry up with her beliefs. So we would make abortion an ongoing subject for debate in Parliament. It would stay on the table. We would introduce a pro-life emphasis into schools, keeping abortion on the agenda at Parliament. We keep it in the news media, which would change our culture over time. We would seek to change the law on abortion in incremental stages. And we would resist the decriminalisation of abortion being proposed by the Greens and Lib Dems. For the past 3 years, the Scottish Family Party has had a stall at the SFP Conference in Glasgow. This pro-life conference is always interesting and encouraging. I personally noticed a change in attitude this year in both the speakers and the attendees. It was a kind of like a warrior spirit rising, and there was a strong sense that it's time to act and stand up for what is right. Elsewhere, I'm seeing pro-life activism on the rise, on the streets, on social media, and even in film. I don't know if anybody's heard of the Unplanned movie, which there's a campaign to bring it here. And abortion providers, people that work in the abortion industry in America, are actually watching this film and giving up their jobs because they're so impacted by it. So I think it is time to push back against the culture of abortion, and it will take a united stance, and I think that is coming. As I told you earlier, I changed my position about speaking up and standing for what is right instead of being ashamed of Richard. And anybody can change their position, and we've been given a voice to influence others. So just encourage everybody to stand and to speak up. Thank you for listening.